I know the woman who's going to speak next, and who I'm very proud to introduce, will make my job even more difficult when it comes to editing. Karina and I have spent a number of conversations, memorable conversations together. I spent a lot of time up in Slave Lake reporting on the fires, and I've been back 3 or 4 times to the community watching the progress that she's leading, watching it unfold. As I was chatting with she and Bill, she was talking about the fact that the government building is well on its way, and we're hoping within the year that that will be a reality, that she'll be able to have her office, which frankly, when you go to her office, there's nothing on the walls. And when I went there, I said, there's nothing on the walls. And she said, I haven't had time to put anything on the walls. Because of course it was a temporary office. And much of her life has been thrown up in the air, as so many folks in Slave Lake have been. But she has handled it with grace and with dignity, with courage, and with a calm that comes from a place that many people admire greatly. So it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Karina Pillay-Kenny.
Thanks, Adrian. When Mr. Bhatia and Mr. Kira, they drove up to Slave Lake to meet me, and I was truly honored that they asked me to speak, and I'm still in awe of their humanitarian spirit. But distinguished guests, we are here today because of the indomitable spirit and dedication of many visionaries, humanitarians, and volunteers who've worked hard today to make this possible for us as we stand together with the goal of celebrating the lives, the contributions, and achievements of all daughters in our society without leaving anyone behind because of their gender, economic condition, or social standing, or other factors, and creating a civil society that promotes, supports, and enhances the dignity of all its members. I also find it appropriate that we're calling this proclamation Daughters' Day, as all women are daughters, and it invokes a special connection and reaction when we think of women as our daughters. We naturally want to embrace, support, and lift our daughters to reach their full potential and break down any barriers or walls that stand in their way. The organizers of Daughters' Day are indeed committed to supporting the dreams and aspirations of all daughters locally, nationally, and internationally. As we look around us today, there are strong, determined, and independent daughters who have clearly dispelled the old misperceptions that daughters are fragile, weak, or in some way lacking. We are leaders, caregivers, creators, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, teachers, and more. We are strong, smart, and thoughtful citizens. We contribute to the welfare and the sustainable development of our society. Unfortunately, this hasn't always been the case in our history. The reality is that not all daughters are supported or able to exercise their rights. We continue to experience discrimination and violence. It is disturbing and inhumane to deny our daughters dignity and basic human rights. Many have worked tirelessly, made sacrifices, and risked their lives before us to help all daughters achieve our dignity and rights. It is because of their courage and vision that we reap the benefits today, and our duty is to continue their efforts. Social justice is still a distant goal for many women in Canada and around the world. I believe we can reach that dream of a healthy society where we are all valued and we have the maturity to respect our differences and can work together. I have this faith due to many personal experiences, knowledge, and skills that I've gained over the years. And I first give credit to my parents, who were instrumental in creating a strong, knowledgeable, and community-minded daughter. Their sacrifice of leaving their family and belongings behind to escape a system of entrenched racism and discrimination in South Africa during apartheid, to give their children freedom and opportunities in Canada, took incredible courage, strength, and mental fortitude. Arriving in Canada and living here for about a year, I'm sure my parents had quite the surprise when they found out they were pregnant with me. Since they were new to this country and knew that non-whites born outside of South Africa would not be granted South African citizenship, my mother decided to go back to South Africa with my 3-year-old sister and give birth to me. At the age of 2 months old, a passport was obtained by my mother, and my mother, sister, and I returned to Canada to be reunited with my dad and brother. My mother, a daughter with incredible courage, gave her daughter a start in life with adventure and determination. Another key factor that has helped me keep an open mind was that when my parents came to Canada, they left their oppression behind and did not perpetuate it with their children or within their community. They embraced all that Canada had to offer and immersed themselves in learning about this great country and about other cultures. They also appreciated having the opportunity to actively participate in helping build a stronger community. Their actions and wisdom helped me become the leader I am today. However, not all of us have an open mind. We often come with the mental baggage of mistreatment or deep-rooted gender biases or even racist attitudes taught in another country or even here under the guise of tradition or religion. These thoughts are supported and enabled if we choose to surround ourselves with people with similar attitudes and discriminatory principles. This creates an incredibly difficult situation for our daughters who are trapped in oppressive and abusive cultures. That's why it's so important that our communities welcome our immigrants as they arrive and help them adjust to our new way of life and understand their rights. We need to continue to support and enhance community-based and educational programming for immigrants. As well, we need to ensure that all Canadians have access to and the means to receive an education. Another important and critical piece for all daughters in Canada is that they need a safe place to run to when abused or threatened. Our women's shelter in Slave Lake is run by a group of local, hardworking and compassionate individuals supported by local businesses, the town and province, and it is imperative that we continue to provide and support safe havens for daughters across Alberta and in Canada. Another lesson I learned from my parents is that education means freedom. They knew that with an education, adults and children can lift themselves out of poverty and find the means to participate fully in society. They succeeded in getting an education for themselves and in turn passed on the benefits to their children. My education helped me become a critical thinker with the ability to understand the hows and whys. It gave me confidence, independence, a voice, and made me realize my rights, obligations, choices, and potential. My education still continues, and I hope I never stop learning and expanding my abilities. If we educate all our daughters, they will be equipped with the tools to defend themselves, make good decisions, and be able to contribute in political, economic, and social arenas. Their knowledge and skills will be passed on to the next generation. But we should not only focus on our daughters. We need to equip both boys and girls early on with the tools of respecting themselves and understanding their responsibility and role in creating a healthy society. I've learned that if you respect yourself, you gain confidence in your ability to help others, and in turn, you gain the respect from those around you. Another key ingredient that has helped me in my development is my experience and training in sports. Sports helped me understand what it means to be part of a team, what it feels to be healthy, and how to push your limits mentally and physically for a common goal. It helped me understand and appreciate that every player on a team has a critical role and it requires the whole team to reach that goal. I was exposed to sports as a child, and I remember my mother waking me up at 5:30 in the morning to go to figure skating practice before school started. It was the only winter sport available to daughters in our town at the time, and we only had one arena. But that didn't stop my mom from giving her daughter an opportunity to learn something new. I applaud my mom for her devotion and perseverance and for exposing me to something fun and active, and I admire her patience because we both knew I wasn't a superstar at that sport, but nevertheless, it was a starting point for me to participate in many sports in the years ahead. Sharing this may seem trivial, But did you know that in the late 1800s, women were discouraged from playing sports because doctors claimed that sports women's uteruses would shrivel up and they would become mentally ill? Tell that to the Canadian women's soccer Olympians. As I watched the 30th Olympiad, I was inspired once again to believe and dream big. These Olympics broke more than Olympic records. It achieved victories for gender equality around the world. With the introduction of women's boxing, there are no more remaining sports that do not include events for women. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Brunei brought female athletes for the first time, making this the first Olympics in which every national team included a woman. Most notable were the athletes from Saudi Arabia. Their bravery was momentous and historic, as daughters in this country are denied physical education in the schools, and women are still not allowed to vote in Saudi Arabia. While these Olympic moments are the result of incredible dedication, resolve, and courage, they mark the long struggle women have made to gain status in sports. Another traditional male-dominated field is the political arena. A few of us have been able to combat such patriarchal power structures, and as more daughters pursue careers in politics, citizens will have more choices to choose the best person for the job. Healthy, ethical, and sustainable communities require the full participation of all members of society. Daughters must be able to participate as equal partners, decision makers, and leaders. This is essential for the advancement of society. As the mayor for the town of Slave Lake and being at the helm of one of Canada's largest disasters, I'm just one example of a daughter who's not afraid of leadership and believes in our duty to serve and help build strong communities. Our wildfire was a catastrophic event that touched each of us profoundly and brought national and international attention to us. It was an event that triggered an incredible display of humanity. As I've said before, we bent, but we did not break. The human spirit can endure a great deal, and it's because of the spirit of friendship, cooperation, and community that we are recovering and rebuilding stronger than ever. I have witnessed what an army of dedicated people can accomplish in a very short time, and we are incredibly fortunate to live in a country with the will and resources to make it happen. Imagine what we could accomplish if we all had that sense of urgency to protect our daughters. Imagine what we could accomplish if we ensure the quality of rights guaranteed by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms become a reality for every daughter. Sound like an impossible dream? At one time, many thought the vote for women, the right for women to be considered a person, the right for women to participate in sports, impossible dreams. It took the bravery and vision of a small group of citizens who stepped up and stood firm, even amongst intense criticism or hardship, to make these dreams a reality. As a result, we are stronger, serving our communities better, and challenging ourselves for a better world. It's going to take that kind of passion, determination, and courage to help our daughters and many others who are the most vulnerable. I know we have that resolve to reach the dream that all daughters can live in dignity and without fear. And we have this potential in Canada, and any threat to our daughters' basic human rights is a threat to society as a whole. I often read the words of Diefenbaker to inspire me and encourage me. I am a Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose for what I believe wrong, or free to choose those who shall govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind or womankind. To reach this freedom for all daughters, we need all of us to embrace and support our daughters. It's evident that many daughters here have accomplished great things, creating new paths for others. And as Paula Kerman writes in her Daughter's Day song, so here we stand before you, daughters of all ages today, proclaiming something so true. We're ready and willing to say, stand for love and not for hate. Our rights are not for debate. join with us. It's not too late, for we will not go away, and there's so much we can celebrate here on Daughters Day. Thank you.